of police officers and other jurisdictions working together to save the life of one person. Let's put up this deputy's picture full mass. Okay, here's what happened. A woman was dangling on the edge of a courtroom roof. She went on top of the roof. She was going to jump. Guess what? She didn't. You know why? Because that deputy stepped in. That deputy was told by this individual who was going through a mental health crisis, that deputy was told to take off his clothes, to disarm himself, and to eat a sandwich in 60 seconds or less that she handed him. He did all of it. He did it all to save her life. His name is Deputy Nicholas Reynolds. He's with the Fulton County Sheriff's Office. Let's show the graphic of the young lady on the roof. Now, we blurred out her image for multiple reasons. Number one, she's stripped down naked. Number two, I believe she's a mental health victim who was going through an issue and had her life saved. Let's show the next graphic of the deputy after he took off his shirt, got on his knees. Now, let me explain this situation right here. This right here. This should be an example to every law enforcement agency in the country and beyond. You have a deputy who has come out to the roof. He was told by the young lady experiencing a mental health crisis to take off his shirt. He did. He was told by this same young lady to disarm himself. He did. She was eating a sandwich and she handed him a sandwich and said, eat it in 60 seconds or less. And he did. He did everything she asked him to do. There's no guidebook or training that says this is how you must do it. None of this was in a protocol dynamic whatsoever. You know, this deputy could have went to that roof and said, ma'am, I can't do that. We're not allowed to do that. Ma'am, put your hands up. Get off the roof. Atlanta deputies helped a woman in a mental health crisis who had threatened to jump from the top of the Fulton County Courthouse Thursday afternoon. Sheriff Labat said around 4:30 p.m., his department was alerted to a woman who was possibly trying to jump off of the roof of the courthouse. Let's put up a picture of Sheriff Labat. The reason why the deputy felt comfortable doing everything he did to preserve life is because he knew his leadership would back him. See, Sheriff Labat is a new sheriff. Before he was sheriff, he was the chief corrections officer. He was chief of corrections for the city of Atlanta. Well, he created a program that actually transitioned the incarcerated individuals into work for the city while they were incarcerated, and they were paid full wages, and some of them left his facility with over $20,000 and a home purchase. He created that program, one of the leading programs in the nation. He ran for sheriff and won. It's called Being Compassionate. It's called Humanity. There's more. She told me she did not speak a lot of Spanish, but we were able to communicate a little bit. Since some words sound the same in Portuguese, in Spanish, and I tried to calm her down, said Baez, who is working on her master's in criminal justice at Georgia State University. She also works as an advocate in the Solicitor General's office and said she was committed to doing what she could do to help. Let's put up a picture of the Solicitor General. Let's put up his picture. His name is Keith Gamage. Keith Gamage, his office is the office that alerted the sheriff and the sheriff's office that this was happening and provided a way to communicate with this young lady. When she saw that I had a sandwich, she asked me to throw it at her, but do not get close. Just to throw it at her, and I kept talking to her, trying to calm her down, said Baez. When the woman demanded Deputy Nicholas Reynolds remove his shirt, his safety vest, and his weapons, he complied. She then handed him his sandwich and told him to eat it. She said, I had 60 seconds to eat it. And I was just trying to build her confidence. So I ate it quickly, says the deputy, because she was naked. I could see that she did not have a weapon. So as she reached for my vest that I already had taken off, that's when I knew I could reach for her, and the other deputies came in behind me to pull her from the ledge. I was relieved when it was over, but really it just comes down to staying calm and have good training, said the deputy who's been a negotiator for 2.5 years for the Fulton County Sheriff's Office. In my eyes, Deputy Reynolds is a hero. They all are, said Sheriff Labat. Let's put that picture up again of the deputy with no shirt on his knees, eating a sandwich next to a woman that is threatening to jump off of the roof. Do you see? She's actually on the ledge. He was close enough to where if she would have grabbed him, he would have died. He abandoned all of his personal safety measures to save her life. There's more to this story. Sheriff Labat said the courthouse was locked down in part to make sure no one walked out the door about 8 stories below Central Avenue, side of the courthouse. Atlanta police and Atlanta Fire Rescue were notified, and the sheriff's office established a command post. Sheriff Labat said the Fulton County Solicitor General's office also assisted, as I just mentioned. The agencies worked together to lock down the area and deploy an airbag on the ground. Once again, another safety measure to preserve life. Sheriff Labat provided drone video of the rescue. Channel 2 News blurred to protect the woman's privacy. The person who had the story first was actually Portia Bruner of Fox 5 News, and she did a remarkable job getting all the elements of this story put together, all right? While the agencies were working to rescue the woman, the sheriff learned that she spoke Portuguese. They quickly rushed translators to help crisis negotiator Nicholas Reynolds, the deputy, communicate with her. Sheriff Labat said it was Reynolds who was able to grab the woman and get her to safety. He put himself in harm's way. He is a hero for doing so, the sheriff said. The sheriff also commended Fulton County Sheriff Sergeant Tamara Lee, Deputy Kelsey Avila, Atlanta Police Officer Adriano Torres, and the DA's victim advocate Dilma dos Rios for the roles they played helping the woman. Of compassion goes along with the understanding that this is a tough time in our community. The sheriff said, it's tough. It's a tough time across America. I could not be more proud of Deputy Reynolds and the entire team. I get choked up giving you this story because not only did they save her life, you got to think about the culture involved. Everybody responded the same way. Everybody responded with one thing in mind. What do we need to do to preserve her life? I mean, great example. But you got to look at this also. After they preserved her life, after this deputy stripped down and disarmed himself and got close enough where he was in danger, ate her sandwich in 60 seconds or less, did everything she requested. After this happened, every department agreed this woman will not be charged with any crime whatsoever. They did something even more than that. They got in touch with her family. Remember, she was at court thinking this was going to be the worst day of her life. They got in touch with her family so that she could have a connection back to her family. And then they engaged wraparound mental health services so that she would be secured where she should be, which is to get help, not to be incarcerated, not a single charge. That's the example. Ben, thoughts?
Yeah, this is just really amazing because it just goes to show like what the difference makes, because this is really contrary to the way most police across America are trained. Most police across America are trained to respond with a sense of urgency and like concern for their own safety from a position of authority, right? Where they're impatient, they demand control over the situation, when I think we can recognize that, like, obviously she wanted to feel safe in that situation. Like, she was obviously going through a lot, but you see a police officer show up with a gun, you're gonna be a little bit concerned, right? Even in that state. And so, like, instead of coming from a position of, no, I'm the police officer, you have to do what I say, like, he came from a position of like compassion and understanding and patience, right? And recognizing that the goal is to make sure that she is kept safe. That's the whole reason that they were called in the first place. And I think the most like heartening part about this is the fact that the leadership was actually on board with this, because there have actually been other instances in the United States across the country where police officers have responded with patience, have responded with understanding and kindness, and hesitated in moments in ways that have saved people's lives. And then they've been reprimanded by their police chiefs. They've been reprimanded by their peers. And it just creates this culture of, how dare you? You should never put your life in even the tiniest amount of risk, no matter what. You should always be the person that's in charge. And that type of impatient response sort of shuts off any type of understanding. And then the follow-up where she's not charged with any crime and you reach out to their family, that's how it should be, right? We should have, if we're gonna have a system of public safety, it should seek to involve members of the community and people's family member to make sure that there's not just a one instance of an interaction, but there's actually a long-term process of helping people move past moments like this in their life. And it's also very great that they're respecting the privacy of this person, because I think we all would understand that having a really bad day and then having that bad day put on TV makes that bad day a heck of a lot worse.
Yeah.
And so all around, this is just, I think, exemplary.
Yeah, I applaud everybody. Another dynamic about Keith Gamage, the solicitor, who's in charge of misdemeanor prosecutions for the county. When he ran for office in Fulton County, he ran on a restorative justice platform where he wanted to restore and redeem individuals, create preventative measures, make sure that there's a mental health dynamic connected to individuals who may find themselves caught up in an adverse reaction with law enforcement. Well, every single one of those departments today show that the world, or that at least American policing, can be quite different when applied differently. All right.